Hey y'all, it's Crystal. Thanks so much for coming by today. So here is the book chat for True Grit. Yes, let's talk about it. So I read True Grit in June, of course, for June on the Range, and I joined it on the kind of group read that MJ over at Reading This Life had hosted over on her Discord. There were a bunch of people over there reading it. And I think doing the group read definitely helped me get through the book. So, as we know, she's a chunky one. Yeah, this is a really long book. I ended up just listening to the audiobook. It was about 36 hours or something crazy like that. And like I mentioned in one of my sort of weekly wrap-ups when I talked about it, I liked Lonesome Dove. I didn't love Lonesome Dove. And so in that way, it was kind of a bit of a disappointment because I was really I went in thinking I was going to love it because everyone and their grandma loves Lonesome Dove. I totally get why people like Lonesome Dove, but it just didn't hit that way for me. And so I'm just going to chat about, it's been several weeks now since I finished it. So let's kind of just chat about it. So Lonesome Dove, the gist of the story is we're following, sort of a handful of dudes as they are, we start off in Lonesome Dove, Texas, I believe, and they are going to rattle up some cows and take them all the way up to Montana. And so we're following them as they take these cows all the way up to Montana. Of course, lots of other things happen along the way, and we meet some different characters and things like that. We lose some characters along the way. But that's the gist of the story, is these guys taking these cows and bulls and things up to Montana, because they are, Montana in this sort of time period is still a bit wild and free, and so they're going to be the first guys up there to, set up, a ranch or whatever in the area. Of course, they meet sort of natives along the way, and usually get in fight and kill each other. And there's things happening along the way, I guess, is the overall point. So, what did I like about this story? I did really like the overall story, following them on this trail, and again, sort of things that happen along the way, again, some of which are really horrendous, actually. A lot of violence in this book. People, we lose people along the way, and some of them are really sad. So in that way, it's very touching, because you kind of get, attached to some of these characters over, this 36-hour audiobook, right? And so, when we lost some of them along the way, I was kind of like, oh man, dang. In general, I really did really like a lot of the characters. I think particularly Gus. I feel like maybe everybody likes Gus. He is this kind of old codger who, pretty set in his ways, but he's just really kind of funny, and but has some philosophy to offer along the way, and he's just a character. Yeah, I definitely liked Gus. There are basically three women in the book. It's mostly a male character book, of course. It's a cowboy book, essentially. So there are three women characters who I definitely was invested in, and cared about what happened to them. Well, except for one. Let's just be honest. One of these ladies was just making really stupid decisions and whatever. Okay, but the characters here they're very vivid. I think even if they were sort of playing a sort of stereotypical role, again, they were written in such a way where you were interested and cared about what happened to them. Carl, I think especially, I kind of really liked him. And even again, he made why are you like this? And you kind of wanted to wring his neck sometimes. But again, they felt very real, and again, you became invested in this journey that they were on, right? So that way, the characters I thought were really good. The writing in here, the writing was good. Very descriptive of place, and you really kind of could feel the dust in the wind, or when they got to more cold places, you could feel the snow on the ground, that kind of thing. You got a sense of what your characters looked like, towns along the way. You really got a sense of place through the writing and the descriptions. So in that way, this kind of world was really brought to life in that way. So yeah, was that all I liked? I mean, that's kind of just the writing, the characters, yeah, was really good. And I get why people like this story, right? For me, I think, and I'm just going to say this, and people maybe not like it, but this is a book written by a dude for dudes. And as a woman reading this, I just didn't make that same sort of connection that I'm sure a lot of dudes make, right? I think especially in regards to these three women characters, which really just play, or not play, are really just these sort of stereotypical kind of women that you see in these kinds of stories. Even though they were written very interestingly, and they definitely had a complexity to them, and I liked them, they still filled a role for the men in the story. And again, this is the time period too, so of course women were limited to certain roles. I get that. I mean, I'm just telling you, these are just my thoughts and feelings, okay? This is how I feel. So women, of course, I mean, you're gonna either be, a prostitute, right, or in the out west, or you're gonna be married and have a bunch of kids and take care of a farm, right? These are kind of your options. And so, are the women characters in here? This is the role that they played. So Lorena filled that role of, wanting to do more with her life, but so limited in resources that she's reduced to just selling her body to try to save money to get to. She wants to make it out to San Francisco. We know she's probably not even going to make it there, but whatever. So that's her role. And I don't know how many times the word whore was mentioned in this book, but after a while, it gets a little on your nerves. Let's go to town. We need a whore. Let's go get a whore. I need a whore. I need a whore. It's like, dudes, oh my God. Calm the fuck down. Anyway, pardon my French. That grated on me after a while. Okay, whore this and whore that. Okay. And Lorena goes through it, man. I mean, there's a scene. I don't know. I will spoil this book. I don't know, but there's a scene in which she is horrendously assaulted multiple times, and it is god awful. And then there's this time period of how she is written after this, and the men still look at her and just want to have sex with her. I don't know. These are things I don't like about this book. And there's another character, what's her name? Ellie. God almighty. Was she the most annoying character in the book? Yes, she was. Even though I think she was tried to be portrayed in this wanting way of like wanting more than just being married and all this stuff. She just was so desperate, that she just couldn't live without this certain man that she just made stupid decisions, and and then there's the other lady. What's her name? I forget her name. She's probably the best character in the book as far as the women. But she also plays this role that women had to play. She had to get married and have some kids, which she lost most of them because it's the Wild West, and women just all your kids weren't going to survive, and you knew that. But again, her life really revolved around, of course, taking care of the men in her life, and this just is frustrating. Again, I know this is a time period. I know this is what life was like back then. It doesn't necessarily mean I want to read about it. So these are the things that really just kind of disconnected me from the story, and I would say especially more so Lorena's character. I wanted more from Lorena. To me, she was the most interesting character, as far as, especially between the women. Because she was sort of dealing with the hand that was dealt to her, right? And using the things that she had to do, which again, I get it, but at the end of it all, she just really still fell flat as far as a character. I don't know. I just, again, how many times do I have to read the word whore, right? So I don't know. So again, I get why people like the book. I really do. It's really wonderfully written, but for me, it's just a dude book written for dudes, and I just did not connect with it as well. And I'm sure lots of women connected with this book too, again, because everyone in the grandma loves this book, and I get it. I totally get it. I just walked away from this book not loving it as much as I wanted. So it's not that I hated it. I didn't hate the book by any means. I thoroughly enjoyed my time. I finished it. I mean, I spent 36 hours listening to the audiobook. Like, I finished it. There was a time I wasn't going to. I was going to DNF this book. Like, I really was. It takes a while to get into. It definitely, to get rolling on this on this journey, because you're learning about all these characters. There's a lot of characters. I just was like, dude, what is this book? I'm not, like, I was going to DNF this book about maybe 100 or so pages in. But I was like, you know what? I'm very curious about this book and why everyone loves it. So I finished it. And again, I liked the book. I didn't hate the book, but I just didn't love it. And I feel, just for me, again, this is just my opinion. I just wanted maybe a little bit more for me. Or maybe didn't want more. I just didn't connect with it. I guess a lot of other people do, and that's fine. So those are just some rambling thoughts about Lonesome Dove, because I said I'd do a book chat about Lonesome Dove. So let me know, have you read Lonesome Dove? What are your thoughts about it? I'm sure you loved it. Again, most people do. Would I recommend you read it? I would say if it's already been on your radar, like you're interested in reading it, or maybe just intimidated by the size or whatever, I say definitely give it a go. Definitely give it a good 150 pages though, to really get into the story. Is a bit of a slow start. But I would definitely recommend you read it if you're already interested. Absolutely. Definitely still give it a go. It is, I think, worth your time. But if you're just like, it's not on your radar, you're not interested, I mean, definitely don't, or like maybe you're thinking about it, maybe you maybe wouldn't connect with it as well. But I don't know if I'm a good gauge of should you read the Lonesome Dove or not. But yeah, I'm gonna end it here. So let me know what you think about Lonesome Dove if you read it. I'll check in the next one. Bye guys.